Aaron Imholt, surviving T cells. Holy shit. He says, how do you reconcile your desire to kill Maps yet have such an affinity for Lester's plight in American Beauty? So here's the thing. Lester doesn't end up fucking the girl in American Beauty. He thinks that she's a whore, that she can be used as a sex toy, that she can be an object of desire and affection. But when he starts to move on her, she's not. Lester Barnum doesn't actually transgress on Mina Savari. He acts inappropriately with her 100%. Even if she's 18, his actions are inappropriate, right? Here we go. That's not it. Lester Barnum is representing the freedom. He's a midlife crisis. He's the freedom of a man who's decided he no longer has to prostrate himself to something else. He is the guy who has given up everything about being himself, about being a man, from the time he effectively, not when he became married, but when he became 18, he gets married, he has a child, and he gives up more and more of himself as he goes. And then at one point he decides, no, you know what? Fuck you. Everybody here is fucking me. Now I say fuck you. He goes and does all these things. Yeah, Mina Savari plays this character who presents herself as effectively a whore, who's a used up high school slut. Lester Barnum's attracted to her, and he goes after her. He finds out that she's actually a virgin, and he stops the transgression at that moment. But it's already done. That's what kills him, actually. What kills him is his transgression on Mina Savari. Everything else Lester Barnum does throughout the movie does not result in the punishment of death. What it is he transgresses inappropriately against his daughter's friend. He's attracted to her. He acts on that attraction. He does all of these things. That's what kills him. And this is a common theme in movies. You'll have a hero or an anti-hero who goes through the plot, but at some point they transgress. Lester Barnum transgresses against this unapproachable, untouchable woman. And at that point, he's done. Game over. He gets shot by the Nazi, right? It's all downhill from there. He doesn't actually do it, though. But the point of the movie is not that actually having sex with the minor is the problem. It's that his character's attraction to the minor, his inappropriate relationship with the minor, all of this leading up to it, you can't just stop and nix out the transgression. He does the thing before he does the thing. It's like the Sermon on the Mount. Yes, American Beauty is Jesus. Sermon on the Mount says it's not you murdering your brother. It's the act of hatred in your brother that manifests murder in your mind. That is the same as killing him. And that is where the hero, anti-hero, whatever you want to call Kevin Spacey in the film, he gets punished. Every other thing he does up to that point is freedom. His wife's a monster who cheats on him. She treats him like garbage. His boss is extortive, steals money from the company, covers up the extortion. And then Kevin Spacey effectively says, look, I've got all the information. I'll talk. He tries to reconnect with his daughter, who's failed at connecting forever because of his oppressive wife, because of his oppressive job, because of his failures. Everything Kevin Spacey does is redemptive, except the inappropriate relationship with the high school cheerleader that he never actually consummates. He never gets his dick wet, because the moment he finds out that she was a virgin, he goes, "Oh, I thought you were a whore," and that act alone results in that day his death. Everything else up to that point is freedom, is his liberation from his shackles. But the shackles become the guillotine the moment he goes too far. That is the fucking critical message for Lester Barnum and everybody else, is that pure freedom doesn't exist in this world. For the people who find freedom, you can never find pure freedom. You have to have restrictions. You have to have limits. If you let yourself go into harm, into the transgression of destroying innocence, of destroying youth, of destroying that purity that you're searching for in yourself, then you lose. Everything else he does is okay. His boss is extortive. He extorts him. His wife doesn't respect him. He openly disrespects her. So I can do whatever he wants. Does he cheat on her? No, he never does. She cheats on him. She gets fucked by the real estate king in one of the funniest scenes ever because her legs are on the fucking headboard of the bed while her head is getting banged into it. And the guy's going, you want to fuck the king? You want to fuck king? Want to fuck king? His wife, Carol, he tries to get back with her. That's the best scene in the movie, in my opinion. He's got the beer in his hand. He says, what happened to you? I remember that girl. That college girl. We would go up. We'd hear the helicopters. She'd go up. She'd climb out on the roof. She'd pull her shirt off and hope the helicopters would shine the light on her. What happened to her? And he's getting closer and closer. He's got the beer in his hand. He's a little bit drunk. Moving in for a kiss. She's backing up. But her fucking skirt is soaked, right? Like she is flooding at this approach of him. She's never seen Kevin Spacey like this in years and years and years. He's getting closer. He's reminding her of who she is, of who he is, of what made them meet. And then she looks at the beer. She looks at the beer in his hand because it's tilting. And she goes, you're going to spill your beer on your couch. The Italian leather $4,000 sofa, right? This is just a fucking couch. He throws the goddamn beer. She doesn't redeem herself. He has a chance. The whole theme is that she's gone. She's left him. All she cares about is herself, her actions, her ability to promote herself. And she cheats on him because she doesn't respect him. He's a pile of garbage. He's jerking off in the shower. The best part of his day happens at 8:30 in the morning while he's jerking off in the shower. When he tries jerking off in the bed, she's like, oh, you're the only one who's sexually frustrated. He's like, my dick is hard, bitch. Let's go. And she's like, no, fuck you. She respects him zero. So he's like, fine. I'm going to improve myself. I'm going to smoke weed, I guess. He's going to lift weights. He's going to fucking tongue kiss a Nazi, which is weird. But she goes and fucks the real estate king. She doesn't redeem herself. Everything he does is reflective of what people do to him and overcoming that and becoming the guy he wants to be. Until he goes too far. He goes, he says he's attracted to a fucking high schooler, his daughter's friend. He tries to have sex with her because he thinks she's a whore. He projects onto her the projection she puts out into the world. But it wasn't real. He transgresses. That's when he dies. Everything else is fine in the movie. Everything else is redemptive. Everything else is restorative and liberating. And then he goes too far because pure freedom can't exist. Pure freedom creates harm when you go across certain boundaries. Lester Barnum tried to fuck a kid. He stopped himself. It's too late, buddy. Sorry, you get the gallows with Malachi, with the guy who tried to kill Malachi. Anyway, how do you reconcile your desire to kill Maps yet you have such an affinity for Lester's plight in American Beauty? I have an affinity for Lester's plight up until he transgresses too far. I pointed this out last time I watched it. Every time I watch it, I go, yeah, he goes too far. He goes after his daughter. She can be 17, she can be 18. Doesn't matter what state they're in. Doesn't matter if there's age of consent or whatever. The relationship is inappropriate. He goes to corrupt the thing that he assumes is corrupted. But it was actually innocent. It was just lying. The corruption of the innocent is the transgression. He fails, he dies, period. Everything else is fine. I don't have to reconcile that at all.